Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TC Crew here with a new interview. Welcome to part 4 of Season 1 of What If Deku was Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I just want to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin. All Might sprinted towards the explosion. He was concerned for the students that were caught in the blast. The pro hero tried to keep a smile on his face. However, the situation weighed down on his mind. The blonde hero remembered the warning the American hero gave. These villains like to target their opponents' minds and break them psychologically. Spider-Man even mentioned that they target civilians to force the heroes to ignore them. As the symbol of peace reached the fake city, he saw smoke rising. The only hope he had was that his students had reacted to the bomb in time.
All Might, can you hear us?
Aizawa said, sounding stressed.
How did UA get the communication back up?
All Might asked, as he tried to sound hopeful.
A villain managed to swap our fake bomb with a real one. I need some assistance since the bomb went off near 4 students. Nezu broke through the program that was blocking communications. Thankfully, Spider-Man gave us information about their previous attacks.
Eraserhead said in a tired voice.
Several pros are coming, including Recovery Girl. Let's meet at the fake city and see how badly injured the students are.
The two heroes met up outside the fake city where All Might was having the hero class. The only thing they noticed was how large the smoke cloud actually was. The second thing was the sound of building crumbling. As the two heroes rushed in, they saw only one fully destroyed building. The other buildings were crumbled because of the damage they sustained. In order to cover more ground, the two heroes decided to split up. Aizawa decided to start from the left side of the block to see if they fled that way. The buildings were in better condition compared to the right side. However, most of the buildings needed major repairs. As the black-haired teacher got close to one of the more heavily damaged buildings, he noticed a trail of blood. Following the most logical course of action, the tired teacher decided to follow the blood. The symbol of peace went to the other side of the damaged area. The first thing he noticed was that several of the buildings had already collapsed. With the buildings still collapsing and blasting dust into the area, he couldn't really hear if the students were calling for help. He went for the next best option, which was to find evidence of which way his students went. As All Might walked over to a partially collapsed building, he noticed a small trail of blood.
Aizawa, I found evidence of someone being injured on my side of the destruction.
All Might said over the radio calmly.
I'm following a trail of blood in an attempt to find its source. Did you find anything on your end? I found a blood trail as well. Hopefully the students went towards my side, since the destruction isn't as bad here.
Aizawa said calmly as he followed the trail.
The only logical thing to do is find the source of the blood trail quickly.
The number one hero followed the trail. As he did, he noticed that the blood droplets that made up the trail started to appear more often. As the blonde-haired hero continued, he heard the faint sound of coughing. He started to sprint towards the coughing. He got to the part of the building that had collapsed, and he saw the blood trail go under a pile of rubble. Very carefully, the pro hero started to shift the rubble away. As All Might moved the rubble away, he noticed that he saw the blood trail stop. Slowly, he started to see some movement underneath the rubble. He quickly saw familiar red shoes. As he shifted the rest of the rubble away from the shoes, the symbol of peace saw a very concerning scene. The normally happy hero saw the green-haired boy using his body to cover his teammate from the explosion. All Might noticed Deku was heavily injured and needed medical attention as quickly as possible. Very carefully, he picked up the two students and started to move them away from the ground zero. After that, the blonde pro hero started to bandage up the injuries so Recovery Girl could get there in time to heal them. This was a very concerning situation for the number one hero. Eraserhead started following the blood trail. Memories of what happened to a friend of his started to fill his head. He refused to fail his students. The pro hero didn't want what happened to his friend to happen to the young pro heroes that he was training. As he followed the trail, he noticed that he started to hear coughing. The sleep-deprived pro-hero eyes widened as he saw his students. The first thing he noticed was that Bakugo's right leg was broken and was bleeding in several spots. Ida had a broken arm and his hero costume was badly damaged. The blue-haired student's helmet was on the ground, dented in several places. The glasses for the hero student had been badly damaged.
Ida, are you able to move? We need to move you and Bakugo to a safer area.
Eraserhead said in a strained tone of voice.
Are you able to stand, Ida?
I can move, sir. I don't know if I'll be able to help move Bakugo, or Midoriya and Uraraka.
Ida asked, sounding shocked.
We had to split up because of how we left the building. The explosion seemed to be closer to them.
We will find out once we start leaving the area. Right now I have to get Bakugo to Recover Girl.
Aizawa said in a flat tone.
All Might should have found them by now. If we hurry, we might be able to meet up with him and find out about their condition.
Aizawa quickly picked up his blonde-haired student. He watched as his other students slowly got up and started to follow him. The teacher slowly moved away from the building. He made sure that his student was able to follow him. Ida slowly followed his teacher as he left the area. The student stared in shock as he got a good look at the destruction. After what felt like an eternity, the blue-haired boy noticed that they were approaching where All Might was. However, within a couple of seconds, the hero student noticed his two classmates had passed out. He also noticed that Midoriya seemed to be seriously injured. Uraraka was unconscious, but she appeared unharmed. Ida walked over to where his two other classmates were and collapsed.
Will they be okay, All Might? Midoriya seems badly injured.
Ida said, sounding terrified of the situation.
Is Uraraka okay, sir? It looks like they were caught in the blast, sir.
Recovery Girl is almost here, so she should be able to tell you. I think they will recover.
All Might said as he tried to fake his trademarked smile.
Hopefully, based on experience, young Midoriya's injuries seem worse than they actually are.
A minute later, Recovery Girl arrived with some robots to bring the injured back to her office. The UA nurse used her quirk on the four heroes to heal their injuries. While she couldn't heal everything, she was able to make sure that no one was going to die. The nurse quickly brought the four students to her office. She quickly informed the heroes that the four students wouldn't be able to train for the next few days. Class 1A came over the next few days to visit their injured classmates. On the third day, Ida was dismissed since his injuries were fully healed. Uraraka was kept until the end of the third day, just so Recovery Girl could check up on her. However, Bakugo and Midoriya had yet to wake up despite their injuries being fully healed. The class was starting to get worried about them. It was another 2 days of classes before Class 1A heard anything new about their condition. Aizawa was about to start talking about the class field trip when he got summoned to Recovery Girl's office. The class started to murmur amongst themselves at this behavior. After a few minutes, the pro-hero returned to the classroom. The class was even more confused when they saw their usually gloomy-looking teacher wearing a smile.
Some good news and some bad news.
Aizawa said, sounding surprisingly happy.
Which one do you want to hear first?
How about the bad news first, sir?
Ito said calmly.
This way we can end on the good news, sir.
Originally, we were going to have a field trip in a few days. However, I decided to push the field trip back.
The pro-hero said pleasantly. What's the good news, sir? Did Recovery Girl give you an update on Midoriya and Bakugo? Uraraka said as she hoped for good news.
I decided to push the trip back to give Midoriya and Bakugo time to recover.
Eraserhead said calmly.
Bakugo just woke up, and Recover Girl expects Midoriya to wake up later today.
Class 1A started to cheer as they heard the news. Before they got too excited, their homeroom teacher glared at them and used his quirk. The class quieted down.
However, you still have class today,
Aizawa said with an annoyed tone.
Don't forget you guys will have to make sure to give them the notes for the classes they missed.
Before we continue, I have something to say. This video is sponsored by Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that shape the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for raster graphics, editing, and digital art as a whole. At We the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based, a non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginners and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is an industry-standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Click the link in the description to start creating now, and thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. A week later, Class 1A was standing outside of the bus. They were talking excitedly about the fact that they were going to the USJ facility at UA. After the villain that occurred during their training, the class was excited to finally move past it.
Alright, everyone, please line up in an orderly fashion. As a class, we need to set an example on what it means to be a hero.
Ida said sternly as he made a robotic hand motion.
Get it, Four Eyes. We're heading to the USJ to train. After the attack during the hero training, I think we deserve a chance to relax.
Bakugo snarled, having no interest in dealing with his blue-haired classmate.
Ida, we shouldn't just wait for the door to open. However, after the hero training, I think we shouldn't stress about other people's perception.
Midoriya stuttered as he tried to prevent a fight between his classmates.
I wonder what kind of hero training we will do at the USJ. Hopefully it isn't something dangerous.
The class fell silent for a moment. Everyone was aware of how close they came to losing classmates during the hero training. Having experienced a villain attack, no one wanted to experience that kind of danger again. For the students of Class 1A, the world seemed duller compared to the entrance exam. Despite the Green Goblin stopping his attacks, the danger he posed still remained.
Midoriya, we should still try to set an example for everyone else. We have to show that a villain attack won't intimidate us.
Ida calmly said as he looked at his friend.
We should use the time we have now to prepare ourselves for future villain attacks.
We should always follow All Might's example. A hero should always smile even when it seems bleak.
The green-haired boy muttered.
Now is the perfect time to show that the villains don't scare us.
The nerd is right. We shouldn't worry about what might happen. We need to show those damn villains that we won't let fear win.
The blonde-haired boy growled.
We have plenty of time to set an example that you want to set.
Class 1A started to talk amongst themselves. The incident had left them scared and afraid. However, Deku's advice to keep a smile on their face pushed them to move past their fears. Aizawa walked up to the class. The pro-hero smirked to himself as he saw his class discussing the trauma.
Everyone listen up. We will have a foreign pro-hero join us for the training at USJ. I want everyone to be on guard due to the recent villain activities.
Aizawa said, sounding like the weight of the world was dumped on his shoulders.
At the USJ, we will focus on rescue training. I suggest you pay attention.
The class let out a sigh of relief when they learned that they weren't expecting to fight anyone during the training. Everyone was intrigued to learn that they would have a guest from a different country. The one thing that 1A was excited about was the rescue training. They had heard that USJ was separated into different zones. However, before the class could discuss the rumors, the doors to the bus opened.
Based on the recent villain attacks, I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that the villains are trying to weaken you mentally.
Eraserhead said calmly.
As long as you remain aware of your current situation, you will be fine.
The class slowly got onto the bus as they considered their teacher's words. This was a shock to the system since their classroom teacher rarely encouraged them. Usually, he tried to threaten or intimidate them. This was a wake-up call for the class. For most of Class 1A, they had assumed that their teacher would continue teaching the same way he always had.
Hey, Deku, how's the therapy going?
Uraraka asked nervously.
Are you excited for the rescue training? It's tough, since I don't feel like I need to do it. When I woke up, most of my injuries were fully healed.
Deku said nervously as he considered the injuries he had.
Recovery girl said that I needed therapy after sleeping for a week. Everyone was really concerned that you and Bakugo weren't waking up.
The brown-haired girl said awkwardly.
Everyone in the class was concerned that you guys might not wake up.
Did you guys seriously think a mere explosion would keep us down? We are not pushovers, you extras!
Bakugo shouted in response.
Bakugo, you shouldn't call your classmates extras. It's disrespectful to insult them for being concerned about your well-being.
Ida said sternly in response to Bakugo's shouting.
Next time we should work together as a team. This way we can cover each other's weaknesses. 4 Eyes, next time don't freeze up when you see an explosion going off near you. What did you think was going to hurt if we stayed close to it?
The atomic blonde grumbled at his friend panicking during the training.
A hero has to remain calm in any situation. What would have happened if there was a villain there as well? I didn't freeze. I was trying to find Midoriya and Uraraka. Regrouping was the better option since we didn't know what the situation was.
Ida said defensively.
Ida, you need to read the situation better next time. If you want to meet up with your friends or your teammates, you have to make sure to find a safe location.
Aizawa said tiredly as he looked at the students' arguments.
You always wanted to get distance from explosions first. Bakugo, you need to understand that everyone has a different approach to the situation than you. Also, a team allows you to focus on one aspect of the mission, since you won't be good at handling everything by yourself.
Bakugo and Ida fell silent when they heard their teacher interject into their conversation. While they started glaring at each other, the two students were unable to disagree with their teacher. However, neither of them wanted to back down from their view on the situation. Eraserhead glared at the two students as the bus started to drive towards the USJ. The rest of the class just looked at the two in confusion.
Kachan, remember, if we want to save people, then teamwork is important. Remember what happened when only one hero was able to show up to our middle school?
Midoriya stuttered nervously, trying to calm the situation down.
Ida's idea is to establish control of the situation so that communication and positioning is easier. He just needs to learn the timing.
You're not wrong, nerd. However, it doesn't mean I have to like what Ida wants to do.
Bakugo grumbled as he stopped staring at Ida.
I just don't want to find out that one of us panics at the wrong time.
Everyone looked at Midoriya and Bakugo as the attack on their middle school was brought up. However, this was the first time that anyone saw the trauma surface for their two classmates. Silence quickly became awkward as no one knew how to continue the conversation after that. The green-haired boy looked out of the bus window as he considered the bad feeling he got. It was like something about this trip was off. The hero student couldn't place it, but he felt something bad was about to happen.
We should be meeting All Might at the USJ, unless he tried to resolve a situation on his way here.
The sleep-deprived teacher said tiredly.
All Might seems to think that you guys can teach yourselves about what it means to be a hero.
Everyone on the bus started to discuss the news that the symbol of peace would be their instructor for the day. Aizawa simply listened in on his students' conversation. The class also started to discuss how this other hero would help them in their training. Some of the people in their class discussed what type of quirk the hero might have. Some of them discussed the possibility that the hero might be here because of the villain group called the Sinister Six. The bus ride flew by for the students as they discussed what type of training they would be expected to complete. As the bus pulled up to the USJ, Deku noticed that his spider sense started to go off. Having learned from his past experience, the green-haired boy decided to talk to his teacher.
Sir, my quirk seems to think there is some sort of danger in the USJ. I've learned from experience that I shouldn't treat these feelings lightly.
Izuku said nervously as he looked at his teacher.
Let me check something.
Aizawa calmly said as he looked at his phone and noticed the lack of signal.
Ida, since you are the fastest one here, I need you to go to UA and inform Principal Nezu that someone is jamming the signal at USJ.
Yes, sir!
Ida shouted as he caught off the bus and started running toward UA.
As the rest of you, I want you to keep an eye out. Someone is here who shouldn't be here.
Eraserhead said in a serious tone.
Remember, you guys can only use your quirk in self-defense. Please try to avoid fighting any villains you might encounter.
Class fell silent as they followed their teacher off the bus. Aizawa quickly put his yellow goggles over his eyes. He wanted to teach his students not to underestimate any villain they might encounter. Class 1A's teacher just hoped that this wasn't connected to the Sinister Six. However, he didn't have any faith given that the villain group was supposedly making an alliance with a powerful villain. As the class approached the USJ, they realized just how massive the facility was. Everything seemed normal as they approached the giant double doors. As the students entered the building, they noticed that a person in a spacesuit was waiting for them. Standing next to them was a hero in a spider costume. The hero in the spacesuit held up 3 fingers to Aizawa.
I am Pro Hero 13. I will explain the rules that you need to follow while you are training at the USJ.
The Pro Hero said calmly.
We are also joined by Pro Hero Spider-Man. He's here because of the recent activity from the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus. He is here to observe and provide an extra layer of security.
Aizawa noticed some purple mist as he looked around the facility. He motioned towards the location where the mist seemed to be collecting. 13 continued to explain the rules at the USJ while the students were there. Very quickly, the clouds started to form into a portal. A pale hand started to appear in the mist. Eraserhead gave the signal for Spider-Man to conceal himself so he could find a location to identify the villains. Slowly, a pale-skinned person walked out of the portal, covered in hands, followed by some sort of hulking creature with a black skin, a beak, and an exposed brain. Shortly after that, the portal expanded, and dozens of villains started to appear. Once all of the villains walked through the portal disappeared. In its place, a man covered in a mist appeared.
13, protect the students. We have confirmed villain attack in progress. Doesn't look like any of the Sinister Six are here.
Class 1A's teacher said, annoyed.
At least we know how they swapped the bombs during their training. Everyone, get ready for anything.
Sorry for coming into your home unannounced, heroes. However, we invited ourselves in so we could kill All Might.
The man made of purple mist said politely.
Our sources indicate that the symbol of peace would be teaching at the USJ today.
Spider-Man quickly repositioned himself to make sure that he got a better look at the villains. Based on his spider sense, none of the Sinister Six were nearby. He noticed that the strange monster in the back seemed to be waiting for orders. It was giving off the aura that it was something designed to be ordered around without any resistance.
Eraserhead, be careful. The creature in the back seems to be waiting for something. Based on its appearance, I think it's waiting for orders.
Spider-Man said quietly into his headset.
This is probably an introduction for this group. Most of the villains don't seem all that dangerous.
Aizawa quickly rushed down the steps as the villains started to attack. Thanks to the warning, Eraserhead made sure to keep track of the pale blue-haired person covered in hands. He also made sure to keep an eye on the person who looked like a bartender. As the pro hero got close enough to the first batch of villains, he activated his quirk. The villains were caught off guard as their quirks suddenly stopped working. The sleep-deprived hero wrapped one of the villains in his capture scarf as a guy with a mutation quirk was suddenly grabbed by webs. The homeroom teacher for 1A started to use the captured villain as a shield. This provided the perfect amount of cover to deal with the villains. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all of this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Secondly, I'd like to thank all of our YouTube members. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it for today's video. So, thank you all for watching, and have a great day.